Run It Studios is the home of the Run Radio podcast and runradio.net, a podcast and station about the relentless, resilient, and innovative types, inspiring strides in life, business, and beyond. Welcome back to the Run Radio podcast. My name is Trina Wilcox, and we talk about running things literally and metaphorically, and a lot of things that we all run is our course in life, our direction that we go for our careers. And we've got a couple of interns with us today that have been working alongside Missouri's Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. So welcome, JD and Christopher. How are you guys today?
Doing well,
Hello.
thanks.
I'm good, thanks. Nice to meet you, Trina.
A little bit about how this all got started. Tell me about the internship and your interest and how long you've been doing the intern. We'll start with JD.
So I've been in the internship since let's see, beginning of November. So going on about 5-6 months now. My interest in the program came from completing, a few things people said would get you a job in cybersecurity, and then realizing that there's not a really great way to get experience in a cybersecurity role without getting a job, and a lot of jobs won't take you without experience. So I saw MCCOE as an opportunity to gain that experience and kind of bridge that gap in my life.
How about you, Christopher?
Yeah, so I started with MCCOE in September, so nearly about 8 months now. Same as kind of with JD. With going to school, I found that the field was a little bit more broad and kind of hard to figure out exactly what it is that the employers might have wanted. So I was introduced to MCCOE by Iris Kitchen, and she since I've been here, it's helped me to narrow my focus on where I would like to go with cybersecurity and stuff, and as well as helped me to gain some experience in the field as to what the employer is actually looking for. So yeah, it's been a cool ride so far.
So since you brought up that it's kind of more broad than a lot of us might realize, what are some of the things that we don't realize that are involved in some of those scopes that you are focusing and narrowing down?
Yeah, so it's a pretty big field. I mean, even when I first started, I probably had the narrowest view. I'm like, hey, I'm going straight into cybersecurity, and so what I want to do is like, help keep people's private information secured and stuff like that. But through going through my courses in school, I've learned that there's a whole like big facet to it. There's compliance. There's understanding the difference between just hacking and then ethical hacking. There's a whole set of principles and rules that you need to follow with things. So since coming to MCCOE, I've learned that, okay, there's the route for red team, blue team, pen testing, there's SOC, there's analysts, stuff like that. So it's kind of like helped me figure out that there's areas for compliance, there's areas for, like I said, analysts and stuff like that. And I myself more so want to lean toward the analyst area.
Oh, good. How about you, JD? Did you feel like it was more broad than you realized, or were you pretty cognizant that it was a big field?
Absolutely. When I first started pivot into this a couple of years ago, I was brought in through a boot camp that the VA put me in, and didn't realize what a broad field cybersecurity was. They covered a lot of different aspects of it. Blue teaming, red teaming, governance, risk, and compliance. And even within those areas, you'll start to hone down like, okay, so I'm interested in red teaming, but what specific aspects of red teaming are you interested in? You can do anything from web application pen testing to, becoming really specialized in like getting into Active Directory environments, which, a lot of enterprise companies run. Um, Deceptive technologies where people put out, honeypots to try to fool attackers into, trying to come after different, files and servers. So, you can really like keep narrowing it down, and become really specialized in one area. So yeah, I didn't realize how broad it was, and have definitely taken my time trying to narrow down, what I'm specifically interested in.
You each mentioned teams and colors. What's that mean?
So red teaming is more offensive security, more an attacker side.
Oh, okay.
And then blue team is a defender side. And then there's something called purple team, which kind of blends the two. And that's a little bit newer take on cybersecurity, having the red teams and blue teams work together on an attacker defender scenario.
When it comes to cybersecurity, it's always good to have a proactive approach, and to sit in a reactive stance is not really a good thing because that leaves you waiting for what could happen next. In most cases, the attackers are very advanced in their attempts to break into people's, systems and whatnot. So with the concept of the red team, you want to be able to take a preemptive approach toward compromising your own system so you can make sure of, what kind of issues you might be having or what kind of holes might be there so you can preemptively patch preemptively patch this situation. So when you have to deal with actual attackers, that's one thing that you can be better off with. Blue team side, definitely, as JD mentioned, is more of a defensive approach to cybersecurity, like bolstering your own networks and making sure they're good. But they work with the two working together in tandem, being like in the purple team aspect. It does a good thing for like making sure that you kind of go from the inside and the outside to make sure that everything is secure.
As a typical end user, my number one priority is making sure I'm doing right by my passwords. And I think a lot of us don't realize how vulnerable we are with so many things. What, from each of your perspective, are some of those things that you learned that the average end user needs to be more aware of and take action on?
For average end user, I would say, yeah, obviously, strong passwords, passphrases even, which is, a longer, more like a sentence. You can switch it up with special characters, numbers. I've met people that use different languages and combine different languages even,
That's a good
which
idea.
is neat. Always, applying updates, making sure your system's patched and everything's up to date, all the security signatures. Um, and phishing emails, just being super aware that people are going to try to get you to click on something that is malicious, and you should just constantly be aware of those things.
Yeah, in the vein of the situation with the password, yeah, like, I mean, everybody likes to keep things simple. Nobody wants to, have to refer back to a book or something when they trying to remember what their password is. And it can be complicated and annoying to have to do like 13-letter passwords and things. But with that being said, simple passwords are very easy to guess. And in most cases, there are people out there trying to crack your passwords. They have things like rainbow tables, and they do dictionary attacks and stuff like that. They have things where they can guess easily guessable passwords. So one of the best things I would say for people in that aspect is, yeah, it may be a little bit more complicated, but at the end of the day, your safety matters. So you should definitely be more mindful of what kind of passwords you set. Try not to do things like pet names and things like that. And if you are going to do something like that, make it a little bit more elaborate. Don't keep it like super simple. Aside from that, yeah, that's that's one of the simplest areas anyway.
Yeah,
I,
those are good.
I would also add use multi-factor authentication whenever possible. I know it's not always the most convenient thing in the world, and sometimes it, even just getting into this podcast chat was kind of an effort for me, but it will save you a lot of the times. It makes it way more difficult for an attacker to get into your stuff.
Yeah. And as businesses and individuals, we are really grateful to go the extra mile in an effort to protect ourselves and not panic. What are some of the things that you feel like businesses should be doing to protect everything that they've worked so hard to build and are building?
um, so if I think that businesses I mean, a lot of businesses really should take their security, especially when it comes to cybersecurity, a lot more serious. I know in some of the organizations I work for, just to be honest, password sharing has been an issue. Like management may not want to deal with a certain issue, so they'd be like, "Hey, listen, use my password, log in, put your information in there, or here, I'm gonna slide you a piece of paper, you write your password information down on there and give it to me so we can get access, and I can fix this stuff for you on your behalf and things." So I think businesses really should crack down on stuff like that. Phishing training and security awareness for employees is a good thing too. That's something they need to focus in on.
Did you?
Yeah, I would say make sure you're applying updates and patches. New vulnerabilities are found almost daily, probably daily at this point. So just make sure you're, updating to the latest uh, patch and stuff that you can apply. Um, Not using default credentials. I've seen some wild stuff out there where there's been services running where it's just, the default login credentials, and it's, super easy for the attacker to just get right in. Very low hanging fruit is what we call it. So, things like that are very important.
Let's talk about the internship a little bit. For somebody that is maybe thinking about applying for the internship, what can they expect? We'll start with you, Christopher.
Yeah, so definitely that is something that people should do. Especially if you're interested in cybersecurity, you should definitely try to get in touch with and apply for this internship. And some things you should expect to learn to do are to, be prepared to work in an environment where you're dealing with lab simulations and things like that. And through my time here working with Matt, we've dealt with some actual hands-on experience configuring switches, doing permissions and whatnot in administrative software and things like that. So be prepared to get actual hands-on experience and to discuss these things when as you progress through the internship. Be prepared to get your Security Plus because that's one of the things that's on the roadmap for the program.
Yeah, and I would say, it's a great experience as far as getting your hands on actual tools and learning different techniques to, defend things, to attack things. We've done everything from pen test engagements. I know we do some security monitoring for a few companies right now. And I think if you're looking to like bridge that gap between, having knowledge and having hands-on skills, it's a great opportunity and it will look great on the resume.
Fantastic.
We also
There,
have
go ahead, Christopher.
I'm sorry. We also have meetings about business development, things of that nature to discuss which direction that we're going in as an organization and how we expect to grow, how we expect to spread the word of the organization and things like that. We have meetings over with professionals over things like social engineering, and stuff like that. So that's another thing. Be prepared to sit in on meetings, to have discussions, to be actively involved, to have active listening in your repertoire. You should definitely employ active listening all the time. Just be prepared to network and meet with people.
What is the time commitment someone could expect on a weekly basis, and then how many months approximately for the internship?
So as I've understood, at least 2 hours a week in house in the SOC is what's expected. At least 10 hours a week of engagement with the stuff that we are doing. And I believe it's an actual year-long program.
Okay. Anything else that you guys would like to add talking about the internship or cybersecurity in general?
Coming from where I come from, I'm originally from Columbus, Georgia. I moved to Springfield, Missouri in October of 2020, and I worked for a different company altogether. Since joining MCCOE, I have definitely found experience that I did not get previously where I came from. Back home, I did acquire an associate's degree in microcomputer specialist and 2 diplomas, and was like one class off from another associate degree, but none of which, after leaving school, did I find opportunities where I could get hands-on experience for IT stuff, let alone, deciding later on around 2018, I was like, okay, you know what, I need to go back to school and I want to do something different and I wanted something. So I chose cybersecurity, started going through that, started doing it with my school, got further along in my program, and now wondering like, what does that all mean? How does that all get applied? So to kind of go back to what we were saying earlier, since joining this organization, I've gained perspective on the path that I want to traverse, so to speak. It doesn't just look like, oh, hey, I want to go into cybersecurity analyst, pen tester, SOC, analyst or something like that. It looks like, okay, this is the direction I want to start in, but from there, I want to grow out to here, here, and here. So it's been beneficial for not just giving me a direction, but helping me to determine and interpret a direction,
Very
if that
good.
makes sense.
Yeah, good, good.
It's a wonderful opportunity, and I hope many people come through and become interns and take advantage of this.
Yeah,
There's a lot of hard work that's gone into it. There's a lot of hard work from upper management and senior people in staff that are making sure that we have the funding, we have the equipment, we have the instructors, and we have the direction that we need to grow the cybersecurity presence in Missouri.
very good. Thanks so much, JD.
Yeah, and I would just add, aside from, gaining experience, it's crucial in landing a role in this field. It's a great opportunity for networking. Our tech community is small but growing rapidly, and it's a real great way to get out there and shake some hands. People see your face, get to know you, get to know your capabilities, and I would say, what is really important in this industry, but who can actually make or break you,
Yeah.
and whether you actually land a role that you're looking for. So,
That's great. I know that the tech people can get the reputation for being behind the keyboard and reclusive, but it's great that this is giving you that opportunity to make those connections and move forward. Thank you so much for sharing. I hope you'll come back and give us an update or, let us know how it's going. Maybe some more interns will come on next time and let us know how their pathways are going as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us, Trina.
thank you, Trina.
Thank you so much. You can watch, listen, whichever platform you prefer when you link over from runitstudios.com. We'll see you next time.